Debate question number 2. Debate question number 2 comes from Ben from Edinburgh. Funny. It seems like we already had a question from Ben in Edinburgh. And Ben says, "Hey, Mike, I'd love to see a debate on what is the worst Steven Spielberg movie." And as before in the show rundown, our prompt, our cue for debate question number 2 was biting technology. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we will be debating Jaws versus AI, artificial intelligence, for the worst Steven Spielberg movie of all time. Is it Jaws or is it AI, artificial intelligence? Just to kind of be fair, in the spirit of, in all fairness, we are going to give the opposite sides of the coin to our debaters. I feel like Kae kind of got the short end of the stick here. So for worst Steven Spielberg movie ever, Kae, you will be arguing for AI, artificial intelligence. Darryl, you will be arguing for Jaws, the worst Steven Spielberg movie of all time. You will be arguing for Jaws, okay?
Okie doke.
And Kae, you're all good with AI, artificial intelligence?
Absolutely.
Great. Kae, you started our debate in the last round. Darryl, you will be starting the debate in this round. Jaws, the worst movie of all time. What is your opening argument? Darryl, go.
The one thing that stands out to me about Jaws that is just awful is the shark. The shark itself.
Darryl, can I pause you just real quick for a second? Your opening argument is the worst thing that jumps out to me about Jaws is the shark. If I was drinking liquid, it would have spilled all over my computer. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on your toes, interrupt you. Please go ahead with your argument. I just had to point that out.
Okay. Even as a child in 1975, as I watched Jaws and looked at that shark breach the water and tear up the boat, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, that shark looks weird. There's something about that shark that looks weird. Scary? No. Weird? Yes. If you were going for weird, he hit that. He hit that hard. But yeah, I didn't really, and Robert Shaw as Quint, I found him rather bland. He was stoic, but he was corny. He didn't do it for me. And even Roy Scheider as the lead, it was just, I don't know, it was kind of like, I don't want to be mean. He was kind of PTSD-ish, where it was just kind of, I don't know. If you're going to be protecting things and helping folks as a sheriff, they got to be able to trust you. And you're freaking out and you're shooting stuff and chasing folks off the beach and screwing up folks 4th of July and just, the shark's helping, but he's not really serving a purpose as to being a good cop. He was being a bad cop.
All right.
He was being a terrible cop.
Okay, Darryl is coming out of the gate swinging a little bit, calling out some of the technical aspects of Jaws and saying like how that hurt the film, and also some of the acting choices. Robert Shaw, not a very good actor, and Rob Schneider.
Oh my!
If only Rob Schneider was in this film. Roy Schneider. That would have been a very different movie. Roy Schneider, not being given anything to do in the script, and also making some bad acting choices. What is it about AI, artificial intelligence, that you think is the worst Spielberg film of all time?
Well, just starting off with the title of the film, it's AI. It's AI, artificial intelligence. It's like the Los Angeles Angels. Why is this doubled up? That feels redundant and silly, and like they think the audience is stupid and doesn't understand that the acronym AI will stand for artificial intelligence. So just starting off with the title, we're not on a good foot here. This is one of those films where I feel like someone who was writing 2 different movies but only had funding for one, so they squished them both together and were like, we'll make one movie out of this. Also, the biggest thing for me is how unhealthy is it for somebody's child to be life-threateningly ill, and for them to think, know what I'll do? I'll buy a robot that makes me feel less alone. That can't be healthy. That's not a good choice. Arguably, I've only taken a couple psychology classes, but I don't think that's the best option for dealing with the illness of a loved one, is buying a robot version of your child and trying to replace them. So just off the title, the fact that there's two very different plots happening at the same time, one with like the polar ice caps melting, and then the struggle of this family whose child is very ill and may not recover, happening at the same time. Where is this film going, and at what point does someone turn it off?
Wow, Darryl, we have some strong arguments coming out from Kae about the redundancy of the title and how that plays into the redundancy of the story. We have multiple storylines going on that doesn't, an A storyline, B storyline, not helping the overall story together, and also the psychological effects of getting a boy robot to be with your family. Do you have a rebuttal to any of that? And what would you argue about artificial intelligence that actually makes it a good movie?
I was, it's been so long since I watched AI, so I figured, let me go ahead and bone up. So I watched AI last night. And I thought the acting from Haley Joel Osment was great. He at some points kind of made me He kind of made me think that he was actually a little boy. When they first got him and brought him into the house. I mean, weird, but the fact that he became the protagonist because their real son came back and started being like really abusive towards the artificial intelligence boy was kind of terrible. But at the same time, that it drew you more to him and made you, love him more. Well, I'll say love, but care about him more, be more concerned about what was happening with this character, and him sitting underwater for 2,000 years. It's like, oh my God, all he wants is his mama. Can we get this boy his mama? And eventually he did.
All right. Kae, Darryl's saying how we used Haley Joel Osment's incredible acting as an entry point to care about these characters and to become emotionally invested. What is it about Jaws that makes it a superior film to AI?
I think months ago, we probably would have argued that the mayor of Amity Island refusing to close the beaches to keep people safe is, wild and crazy talk, and that would never, ever happen. And then a pandemic happened, and there was a whole state where the governor refused to close the beaches. And then there was an outbreak of said pandemic there. So the reality of the situation is this is a very real situation that we could experience here, because we have, except there isn't a shark. It's a deadly virus. So I would argue that the reality of Jaws and humanity just ignoring the problem and hoping it'll go away, it makes it a very accurate film. I would also say that Haley Joel Osment is an amazing actor, but who else is an amazing actor in that film? Who else carried their weight? Really, no one. It was down to him and the other little boy. They were the only ones who seemed like they were trying. Jaws goes all the way. Jaws is an iconic film. You can see the Jaws poster anywhere in the world and you'll know what it's about. I have a shirt that says Amity Island Sailing Club, and anytime I wear it, people are like, Jaws. It doesn't even say Jaws on it, but people know. Plus, let's all admit, that part with the head gave us all the first real big jump scare we had as a kid, because it was terrifying. So I would argue that Jaws is superior based off those facts of reality and, iconicness. As to where I've never seen anyone wear an AI shirt.
Darryl, we've never seen anyone walk around with a t-shirt that says AI. She goes on to say that, or she started this argument off with Jaws is life imitating art, or rather the world that we live in is life imitating art, and how impactful that movie was back in the 70s. It's even more relevant today. So there's social commentary. The acting in AI isn't quite as good as you say it is. Could we get your final arguments, your final thoughts about Jaws and how garbage of a movie Jaws is, and how decent of a film AI is, please?
Moi?
Yes, Daryl.
Jaws.
Why is Jaws a garbage film over AI?
I can make a T-shirt that says "All Lives Matter." People are going to recognize that it says "All Lives Matter," but everybody isn't going to agree that it's great. That being said, a Jaws shirt or a Jaws poster does not make the movie itself great. There's posters for the Sword and the Sorcerer. there's posters for Battle Beyond the Stars. Doesn't necessarily make it a great movie. But what does make it a not so great movie is the hype around it. I feel it's been overly hyped, and we have this music that I don't necessarily really care for. I get it. It's iconic to some people, but again, different strokes for different folks is what I say about that. Jaws is overrated. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Okay. Jaws is not the epic that it is construed to be.
All right. Jaws is an overrated film. Kae, what makes AI overrated? Final argument.
So it's a valid point that Jaws might be overrated. Like I mentioned, it's iconic. It's something we can all recognize. However, I would also argue that AI is not underrated. I think it's rated exactly as it should be, as a terrible film. Not only that, what were we all doing at 27? Well, Steven Spielberg directed Jaws at 27. I sure as heck wasn't doing that. What an incredible feat to achieve at such a young age, when the only big film he'd made before that was Sugarland Express 4 or 5 years previous. So not only the iconicness of the film and how I don't believe that AI is underrated, also the people who worked on it. Verna Fields was an icon of editing in film, not only as an editor, but as a woman in the editing industry. Even so much that she would edit the dailies in her house, and the scene with the head that pops out of the ship that we were mentioning earlier was actually filmed in her pool in her backyard. So it's not only the film, but the people that had part of the film and took part in making it into this incredible thing that we recognize now. The Jaws effect even is, while being a negative thing, is something that happened that, since people were so scared of sharks, shark hunting happened. So it has a reach outside cinema to the greater world and to the greater population. Therefore, I think Jaws would be the superior Steven Spielberg film and AI would be the inferior film.
All right, you guys, two heavy arguments here. Kae, I do have to fact check you one little bit. Previously, you said that Sugarland Express came out 4 or 5 years before Jaws. It actually came out 1 year before Jaws.
Well, he made it when he was 24.
Yes, which would have made him 25 when he made Jaws, as opposed to your.
I would double check that.
Well, if math adds up, anyway, yes. Well, yeah. Somebody on the internet, check that out for us. So here's the thing. Here's what's difficult for me. Kae, you make a great point that Jaws was a huge social impact on the world, not just for its time, but also for today. I think those are some of your strongest arguments, coupled with the fact that AI psychologically did not help us, or rather give us a reason to not care about the characters of the film, but like it's actually the story itself is kind of destructive. Whereas Daryl, you make a great point that was exactly the reason that made it a great film, was because Haley Joel Osment was such a great actor in that film. He gave us that emotional entry point to align ourselves emotionally with these characters, as well as like the fact that, you know, the technical aspects of the film for Jaws didn't really do it for you. It doesn't make sense within the story of Jaws to have, you know, like if the sheriff actually believes that there's a shark causing havoc in the water, why doesn't he just pull rank and pull authority and say, no, we are saving lives? I think you guys make both excellent arguments. Darryl, I think I would have liked to see just a little bit more from you about why AI was as terrible of a movie as it was. Because I think we can all generally agree that Jaws is the superior film. And I just didn't see enough as to why AI didn't work. Again, I have to declare a winner, and for this round, we are declaring Kae again the winner of this particular round. We still have 3 rounds to go, so score is currently Kae 2, Darryl zip. But hey, we still have another 3 rounds. Anything could happen in 3 rounds, right? Darryl, how you feeling? You're down by 2. How you feeling? Where are your spirits at?
As you can see, I am wearing a Kansas City Chiefs shirt.
I do see that, as well as you've got a ring on your shirt and a ring on your hand.
In this year's Super Bowl, the Kansas City Chiefs were down, but in the end, they emerged as champions.
Ooh,
I'm still swinging.
A little smack talk. Kae, you're up by 2. Do you feel that you are in danger at all of being a little cocky?
Oh, always. Maybe not cocky. Maybe not in danger of being cocky, but there's no reason Darryl is not gonna like turn around and kick my butt. So
all right.
Confidence I can still get my butt whooped at this
Full
point.
confidence
So
you can still get your butt whooped. All right. Well, let's see what kind of butt whooping happens in debate question.